Some of us, if we are lucky, on our birthdays we get a present, or perhaps at our Christmas time or anniversary we get presents, or even throughout the year we're given gifts of, people want to thank us, so they give us a gift. And sometimes those gifts are so precious that we treasure it. It's our pride and joy, it's our treasured possession. We'll do anything to make sure that the gift remains as precious as it was when it was first given to us. In fact, just recently, someone gave me a beautiful gift. It was just Mother's Day I'm not a mother, but someone gave me a gift for Mother's Day. Anyway, but I was given a gift, and I go back a bit. Before that gift was given to me, I just said to Mary, our mother, I said, Mary, it's your Mother's Day. I said, Happy Mother's Day. And I wish something could really happen special, because you know how much I love you as a mother. I'm going on a bit like this. Anyway, it was 11 o'clock Mass. I was here, and someone gave me a beautiful statue. It's Our Lady of Lourdes statue. I thought, oh, that's a present. Thank you. That's a gift. So it stays on my altar in my bedroom, and Our Lady of Lourdes watches over me, and it's that prized possession, treasure. I remember saying to this person who gave me, I said, oh, thank you so much. It's, you didn't have to, as you do. You don't have to do this. It's so beautiful and all that. So we know what it's like to receive gifts, and particularly those special ones like the Madonna that sits in my room. So we know how beautiful it is and precious it is. And today, we've been given a gift. Well, not only us here at St Declan, but the whole church, because today we celebrate the gift of the Holy Spirit that was given at the first Pentecost. And so like any gift, that gift needs to be unwrapped. It's no good if sometimes the gift that I had wasn't wrapped, but sometimes we have gifts that are wrapped. We need to unwrap to see what it's like. And that's what happens with the Holy Spirit. We need to unwrap, if you like, the Holy Spirit. We need to, if you like, be immersed in the power of the Spirit. We need to be open to the many gifts that the Spirit brings into our life. So we have Jesus in the Gospel today, and if you're alert this morning, you may have thought, wow, that reading sounds different because it's different from Year B, but also that reading might sound familiar because it's the same reading we had on Easter Sunday. On Easter, because the reading is the time where Jesus came into the upper room on that first day of the week. So he'd risen in the morning. In the evening, he shows himself to the frightened disciples. So this is the Johannine Pentecost. We heard about Pentecost in the Acts of the Apostles, the first reading, with tongues and fire and wind and strange speech and understandable language, all that kind of thing. That was in the Acts of the Apostles. Today in John, we have the Johannine Pentecost. John sees Jesus at the point where he comes to the apostles' room, giving them the Spirit already. We hear those words of breath, receive the Holy Spirit. And if we know our Bible well, we would also think, oh, that kind of connects, because in Genesis, I think it's the first chapter of Genesis, the first book of the Bible. You go right back to the first book of the Bible, on the very first chapter, and the very first few verses, we hear about God, whose Spirit kind of hovered over the earth. It's almost like a ruah. It's the breath of God. And just at the first beginning of creation, where God spoke and the beautiful Spirit created and recreated and brought out life, so too John is telling us in his Gospel that Jesus comes to renew creation. As the Spirit breathed firstly over creation, now Jesus, who is risen from the dead and begins a new life, breathes upon the apostles the Holy Spirit. It's the same breath that God breathed over the chaos, the same breath that Jesus breathes over our fear. I think it's very beautiful. He comes into the room and says the very first words are peace. And back in Genesis, we're told about there's chaos, there's a sense of feeling unsettled, there's disarray. God breathes and there is light. Jesus breathes and there is given the Holy Spirit. Another thing he says to us as he breathes upon the Spirit and removes all fear and all obstacles, then he says, right, now you're fit, now you have my Spirit, go. I'm sending you out. Go where? And we're told, last week at the Ascension, go to all Jerusalem, Judea, and he names particular countries. So for us it means go to go out your front door, and you've come out your front door to come to a Mass, and go out to church, and go out to your workplace, and go out to all places, and proclaim and share and show that. Jesus is sending us today in the power, under the breath of the Holy Spirit to inspire us. And so with us we go, and we are breathed upon by the Spirit, but what do? And that's where we've been talking about over these weeks. We share our gifts, we share our talents. I had to remind myself what we do here in St Declan's, because there's so much that we do, and those people who may have been familiar with these sheets have been filling out over these last few weeks. But there's quite a few there, welcoming, coffee cart, and then you go all the way down to your maintenance, event planning. So many gifts and ministries. We hear about in the second reading, the Spirit comes and gives us many gifts, a variety of gifts. Just look at that sheet, there's a variety of gifts. And the Spirit gives the gift to each person accordingly, for a good purpose. So he says to someone who perhaps likes to be cheerful, and someone who's very good at welcoming people, he might say to that person, look, Diane, you're just wonderful at being a welcomer, and I'm going to give you my Spirit for a good purpose. And the good purpose is for you to go out the street, the front of St Declan's on a Sunday morning and greet people happily and welcome them by your great smiling face. Sorry to point out Diane, she's somewhere here in the congregation. So I could call out any name here. The Lord knows us by name, and He is right. You have been given this portion of the Spirit, and use it well. As Paul tells us, so many gifts, a variety of gifts. Isaac, you've got a great singing voice, and you lead others in worship. It's a good purpose. Others are drawn to praise and worship the Lord. And so I'm going to give you this portion of the Spirit, of my Spirit. It's not of your gift, it's my Spirit gives to you. And then with the Spirit breathed upon you, you make a music to the Lord and others join in to worship. Again, I'm singling out people here. But you get the gist. The Lord calls us each by name. He calls, I can't remember everyone's name. Otherwise I'd be calling, Barry and Julie. Everyone's name. But He knows all our names. And He knows exactly the right gift, just like people give us a gift. Often we hear the things like, I was walking on the shops and I saw this in a shop. I thought, this is just your gift. I know you'd love it. And it's true. We hear that, don't we? And so the Lord wants to give us these beautiful gifts. So let the Spirit breathe upon us. Perhaps we say we're scared or we're fearful, we don't know what to do. No, the Spirit gives us that great gift. Now you might say to me, okay, it's fair enough, Father. You're telling us to use our gifts, but how do I know my gift? I just want to end with 3 ways that Robert Barron, who is a bishop, who speaks about knowing our gift. First, he says to pray about it. So on this great Feast of Pentecost, it's a great time to go back home or even at Mass now and say, Lord, come Holy Spirit and show me your gift. What gift do I have? Pray about it. Then the second thing he says is listen to the body, not your own body, but the body of the church. And the way you do this, you say, someone will come up to you and say, you've got a great voice. I sit in the pews with you and you think, wow, you've got an amazing voice. Have you tried going to the music, the choir, and maybe asking the team if you can join in somehow? Or, gee, you're really good at administration. The way that you organise that event, that's amazing. You seem to not be in a flurry, you seem to be okay. Have you ever thought about maybe organising this event? We're needing some help in the parish to organise this event. Or, I just love your voice. You don't speak fast like Father Brian does. And when you speak, it's very clear, and you seem to proclaim when you speak. Have you ever thought about reading? So he says to listen to the body, listen to your friends around you who are saying to you, you've got a gift. And the third thing he says, know your own potential. Within each of us, ever since we were born, God has given us particular talent. Now, I've always been given, I've got a good sense of humour, and people that work with me know about that. After the life of Francis in the office, we have a good sense of humour, and so that's a natural gift. And if you allow the Holy Spirit to touch the humour, then it brings about a joy. And so then the way that you relate with others, I'm very good with people. I love people. I'm a bit of a social butterfly. Ask Father Chris, Father Tony about that. I love to butterfly and socialise. So I love people. I love being with people. I love to listen about people. So for me, it's a gift of pastoral care or giving counsel, spiritual direction with joy. Sometimes it can be a burden, but most of the time it's joy. So realise your potential within you. What are your talents? What are you good at? And you'll find that that's why you're working where you are working, because you have that particular talent. There are many things out there. There's a particular course called Courting Gifted, and that is a great way of trying to recognise what are my gifts, what are my talents. So pray about it, listen to your friends around you, and realise your full potential. It's in there, it just needs to come out through the power of the Spirit and given of service to the Lord. So we all have gifts, and perhaps as you look at that list or pray about it this week, you might be inspired to perhaps fill out the form and think, where can I offer my service for the glory of God and also for the building up of our beautiful parish here at St Declan's, bringing the love of God to life in people, which is what we're all about. Let's do that, filled with the Spirit, strengthened by His grace this day.